Today we're going to review the Godox Litemons 6 series, and also I'm going to tell you why you need these lights for your videos. Hello you, welcome to a new video. Today is going to be a review video, testing some lights, the usual stuff we like to do. Today we have the Godox Litemons 6 series. Now this is how the lights are called, Litemons. I think that's how you pronounce it, Litemons, because the logo actually has a couple of horns on top of the O, so it reminds me of demons, and that's how I want to pronounce it. So what is the Godox 6 series? For now, the collection is made of two different lights, the 6R and the 6x. 6R stands for RGB. This is an RGB light, which includes the 360 hues of the light spectrum, but it also can be used as a bicolor light. The 6x is just a bicolor light, but let's get into the specs. We need to mention these lights are LED lights, and let's start from the 6x. About the modes of this light, very simple. It has one mode, which is the CCT, correlated color temperature, which means it reproduces the daylight from temperature 3200 Kelvin degrees to 6500. Very simple to use as well. So at the back of the light, you have 4 buttons, 5 including the power button. By pressing these 2 buttons, you can change the temperature from warmer to cooler. So from yellow hues towards the blues, and there you go. Very, very simple. On the other side, you have other 2 buttons for dimming the light. You can make it more powerful or less powerful. Now, this is the minimum, 1%, and I'm gonna power it up. And there you go. It's very powerful. Love it. Okay, let's bring it down. And that's all for now in terms of modes for the 6x. Let's talk about the 6R, because that's more interesting for me. This is an RGB light, as we mentioned, so I cover the 360 hues, well, of the spectrum of light, so all the colors the light includes. The 6R features RGB mode, what we just talked about. So you can change all the colors and the hues of the spectrum. Once again, you have 5 buttons at the back. Simply, you can scroll through the hue, saturation, and intensity of the light. And then you have 2 arrow buttons up and down, and you can just change the hue of the light. With the second button, you can change the saturation, and the last one is the intensity. That was 1%, and now this is 100. Full power. Woo! Love it. By holding the M button at the back, you can switch to CCT mode, exactly like the 6x light. So you can switch to the correlated color temperature, reproducing the daylight. And it works exactly the same. You can change the intensity of the light or the temperature. And the Kelvin degrees you can reproduce on this light are exactly the same as the 6x. So from 3200 to 6500, which is great if you have both lights and you want to match them. There you go. Last feature, but not the least, here you actually have some effects. You have an effects button, you simply press it, and boom, you are in the cinematic world of Godox. So you can reproduce crazy effects. This is the cop car, if you didn't realize. It's really cool. Let me turn this light off for a second. Check it out. It's really cool, isn't it? By pressing the effects button, you can switch the effect. This is the ambulance, and another ambulance, SOS, and so on. This is just a loop of all the 360 hues. You actually have 13 different effects. Let's talk prices, and we can find the 6R for £30, British pound, on Amazon, and the 6x for 22. All the links in the description tab. If you purchase the light through my link, it's an affiliated link, so I will get a small commission. You will not have to pay any extra, but you will help me to support my channel and my work. These two lights, as I mentioned, are very portable and ultra lightweight. I just traveled from UK to Italy on the plane carrying these lights plus the Godox ML60 on the plane. They can fit in your rucksack, in your bag, wherever. They're just amazing and powerful and great for what you can do with them. In terms of dimensions and weight, they measure 77 millimeters by 66 by 30 millimeters. The weight for the 6R is 110 grams. The buy is actually a bit lighter, only 100 grams. In terms of charging and battery life, you have a USB-C port at the back of the light you can charge it from, and the battery life is 2 hours, more or less, on both devices. On the 6R, I noticed the battery actually lasts less than the buy one. If you want to talk about mounts and see how you can use and where you can use these two lights, well, under the light we have a 1/4 inch screw thread. So if you have a tripod or a quick release plate, you can attach it directly to the light. But also it features a cold shoe, so you can attach it on your camera like that. And that's great for vlogging. And I'm going to show you a couple of clips later vlogging with this light on your camera. Cool feature is that apart from the cold shoe male, you actually have 3 cold shoe female around the light, which means you can attach one light to another, putting one on top of the other as well, if you want to. So you can double the power of your light. I think it's great. I mean, you can build a tower of these tiny lights. But yeah, definitely cool if you're traveling with them. You can create really artistic stuff. And once again, I'm going to show you a few photos later on. You could potentially attach to the top or any of this cold shoe your receiver of your microphone, like that. Another great feature, but that comes only on the 6R, is the back, which is actually magnetic, so you can attach the light to any metal surface. Once again, very useful. I used it on the street, to lamppost, or even in my studio right there. So sometimes I highlight my gear and I attach this to the shelf unit, which is made of metal. Then both the lights feature a diffuser. So the one on top of the light is actually a diffuser that you can take off. Simply remove it like that and you can actually see the LED lights inside the frame here. The diffuser, of course, helps to soften up the light, so not to make it very hard and harsh, especially on the people's face. Before we carry on and share with you why you need these lights and how I use them, I'm gonna turn all the lights of my studio off so we can test the brightness of the Litemons series. So there I am, can you still see me? Okay, that's 1%. Let's try to make something out of this. So here I am. You can see me now lit only by the 2 Godox Litemons series. I've got the by right here, 6x, which is my key light, and I'm using the RGB as the hair light. So the key light is the white one you see here, which brightens up most of my face, and the hair light, which is actually in blue hue right now, is lighting up my right hand side part of the face. Now, if you're on a budget and you don't have money for bigger lights, I think it's a good starting point. It's not the greatest, but still you can start building from here. So if you have a channel, you can start by buying maybe 3 of these lights. If you have more budget, then I recommend to buy a main key light, like the ML60, for example, is great, and you can check my review up here or in the description tab. And you can use these lights as backlights or background lights, and we're gonna test it out right now. And here I am using the VL150 by Godox as key light. As hair light, so the light at my back here, I'm using the 6x just to light up this part of my face. And in the background, you see the 6R, the RGB light, to give the color of my branding just against the wall. I think they really work well. So once again, I mean, the VL is more expensive, of course, but again, if you're on a budget, you can just buy 3-4 of these lights for 100 quid and you have a nice setup for your studio. How do I use these lights and why you need them as well? What I'm using these lights for a lot of time is for product B-roll. So whenever I make product reviews on the table, these are the lights that are going to light up my product. And I'm gonna show you quickly what I mean. Just taking one of my WeFew caps. If you've never seen my clothing brand, go and check it out, wefew.net, a lot of cool gear. So let's say this is our product. What if I turn my key light off? Let's do that. So let's say I'm gonna use the 6x as main light and I want to highlight the logo of the brand. So I'm gonna use it right here, more or less in front of the cap. And then I'm using the RGB as fill light or backlight. And I can create some depth and give a bit of hue to the side of the cap, something like that. And there you have it. And if you have extra lights, I want to show you how these lights can be useful for vlogging as well. I just mounted the 6x on the Sony a7R III and I'm gonna start walking around the studio. I've started to walk against a black background. There's not much light here at the moment. And this light, of course, is going to enhance the quality of my video by lighting up my face. Still, the shadows probably are not the best, so we can try to find another way to line my face from the side. And I've got something I can use, I think. I'm using this light tripod actually to help me with the light, and I'm gonna mount it right on top of the release plate. What I'm gonna do now is to place it on one of my sides to create the Rembrandt effect under my eye. I'm gonna switch to the Sony a7R and walk around again. And I hope that looks more interesting. So I'm lighting up my face from the side, top, right and side. Maybe here, that's a good lighting setup right there. So that's what you can do with the 6x, for example, or 6R. What we're gonna do next is the fun part. We're gonna be creative and create some photos with these two lights. Also some long exposure photography, why not? The first photo I wanna take with the Godox 6 series. I just set up my camera, photo camera here. I'm gonna stand there in front of the camera and I'm trying to write my name with one of the lights with long exposure on the photo camera. And for the second shot, I set up the two lights. I've got the 6R on my left hand side on the tripod, the 6x on my right hand side. So I'm gonna split my body into different hues. One is gonna be a daylight, white light, one is still orange. Last setup, I've got my Godox 6x here. Right hand side a bit higher than my head and the 6R at the back, giving some color to the background. And this is gonna be the shot. So what do you think about these two tiny lights by Godox Litemons? I love them actually. Recommend it to anyone out there. If you're a professional, if you're a vlogger, if you do product photography, they're always useful and they're so tiny you can literally carry them with you the whole time. That's all from me for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the subscribe button and the like button if you did. Turn the notifications, ding ding, bell on, and I can't wait to see you in the next creative one. Take care.
Seems all good times come and go your way. Child memories helicopter rolling.